Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of Similarly Different. On today's episode, I have one of the baddest bitches of beauty. She is your girl that you want to go to when you want to know if a product really works. She has been in the industry for quite some time, and she has made headlines, sales, and all the above. I'm talking about none other than Sonia.
Oh, thank you so much, girl, for that intro. I'm like, is she really excited to see me?
I am. I love her so much. You don't understand. When I met Sonia, it was at an event. I want to say like a year or two ago, but I always saw her at events and I was kind of shy to say hi to her or to go up to her. And I don't know how it happened, but we ended up starting to talk and I was like, oh my gosh, she's really nice and I like her. And it reminded me a lot of different people that I know in down South Miami where I grew up. And then ever since then that I've gone to an event, I've just ran to her when I see her.
She sure does. And especially when she doesn't know people, she's like, girl, I'm going to be right next to you. And I go, okay, girl. And I think it's because you feel safe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you
Mhm.
have a way of making people feel really safe, which I
Mhm.
love. But thank you for being on the podcast.
Well, thank you for having me.
Of course.
Finally, you asked.
I know, I was really shy to ask. I was like, what if she says no? What if she says, girl, I'm busy? Like, I don't know.
Girl, I will make time for people that I love, and I love you. You know that.
Oh, thank you.
So, I support you.
Okay, wait. So for the people that don't know, when did your beauty influencer creator world start?
It started in 2021 when COVID hit. I was actually working at a regular job,
Where were you
and I
working?
would create content at 6 a.m. or at midnight. I worked at a cannabis farm. So
I
I
knew
run
I liked her.
production. Yeah. I ran production there. I hired, I fired. I basically ran that farm. And I felt like, when I created content, I loved beauty.
Mm-hmm.
And, I've always loved makeup. I've been doing a winged eyeliner since I was 13 years old. So it's kind of in my blood. But also, I would always tell it like it is too. I'd be like, girl, don't use that. Don't use that Wet and Wild right there. It smudges. And so we were like having to have MacGyver skills when we were younger because a
Mm-hmm.
lot of makeup isn't the way that it is now.
Yeah.
So I started creating in 2021, before work, after work, and it was just a hobby. And I started getting like a little bit noticed because I was one of the first influencers actually on TikTok that did over 40. I would review drugstore products. I would review anything that I could get my hands on, I would review. And I just started cussing, being myself, and it actually started in my bedroom. And then, once I got a little bit bigger, I went into like I've got my own little beauty space and I just started creating there. And then one video, when I posted the wrong video on TikTok and it hit 1.1 million views back then. Like in the morning time, I could not even like be on my socials or anything because of it. I was just very overwhelmed, like what is
Yeah.
going on? And I think right there, it really opened a space for me because I was like, okay, once that video gone viral, then I had like 6 to 7 because I was creating for a whole year.
Mm-hmm.
And so usually when a video does well, then everybody starts watching the rest of your videos and you're
Right.
just like, oh, okay. Then I started people like reached out. I was on a lot of podcasts and one particular person reached out to me in the DMs and it was from Sephora.
Okay.
And Sephora actually does like this documentary about you, about like something beautiful. And I was like, I'm not doing it. And this fool was like in my DMs talking about, you are not the one that's ever going to say no. Like, I didn't believe him. And he knew that. And he's like, you know what? I'm going to call you. So he FaceTimed me when I was at work, smelling like weed. And I was like, oh, okay. And at the time, I was going to Maui when he wanted to come where I lived, which I lived in a very small town in Washington State. And I'm like, I'm going to Maui. I'm like, for my birthday, we'll get a team over there. And so I did it in Maui.
I'm dead.
Yeah. So then when I did it and it came out, he's like, oh, and FYI, I just volunteered you to be on Sephora Squad, which I had no idea what Sephora Squad was, girl.
Yeah.
I had no idea. And I was like, whatever. And I just, as you know, and especially in this beauty space, you start to know like what Sephora Squad is, the testimonials. Like back then, it was a lot harder to get in.
Yeah.
And I applied and I got it the first year. Then I was a mentor the second year. And so I just been creating content, just being myself, giving, 100% real reviews. And I don't care what brand it is, I will come for you.
Now, where do you think your confidence comes from? Because I think a lot of women could be really confident in their prime, right? Everybody has their own version of what their prime could be, but you literally stick through, you walk into a room, you really don't care to get people's attention, but you naturally do. And you're confident in your own skin, and it shows from your content, from when you talk to you, and everything. Where does that come from?
I think, I'm one of the oldest in the rooms. You got to remember that. So when we walk, we just walk like, you know what? It is what it is. Because when you walk into influencer spaces,
Yeah.
you're the oldest one, plus the person that's serving the alcohol, serving the food, and is cleaning up. And so that's what I visually look at. And so I think in the beginning, when I first came to LA, I was like, oh my God, like, I need a little bit of drink. But I think like the second to third event that I went, I just didn't care. And I think the confidence comes from time. I think in your 20s, you don't know what you're doing. You make all the mistakes that you can make. I think in your 30s, you start finding yourself, you start setting boundaries. You just start like, if I can't change what I don't love about myself, I'm just going to embrace it. And if I want to change it, then I'll change it. I think in your 40s, you just don't give a fuck. But when I was 15 and younger, I still didn't give a fuck. I just really don't care. And so I think when you walk into a room, you have to move the space without speaking. And I think that's the most important because as you know, like we go into a lot of events where there's a lot of beautiful women, but just because you're beautiful doesn't mean that you're confident. And you can visually see that because I recognize it because I was once them. And so I think if you can find something that you love about yourself, or you can say something nice about yourself every single morning when you look like a hot mess, not when you put your makeup on, not when you get in the shower. Say something good because we're always focused on all the negative, especially about ourselves. Like, oh, maybe I need to work out more. Maybe my skin doesn't look as good. Like, what do I need to do? And I think for me, aging gracefully is one of those things that is very important to me. And I think it started when I grew out my gray hair. I was actually 35. It wasn't during COVID when it was popular. It was actually when nobody understood it.
How long did it take you?
So I had very short hair back then. My
Okay.
hair was like more of a pixie, so it didn't take me that long. I kind of grew it out a little bit long and then I cut it very, very short. And I think for me, having short hair is very empowering too. And it's like gives you that freedom. And gray hair gives you a more freedom because then you can create your own beauty standards. And I feel like when you create your own beauty standards, you're not going to listen to anybody else. So, like if you go get Botox and fillers, that's on you. As for me, I don't have no work done. And I think for me too, that was one of the things when I was in this creative space is that I wasn't going to do it because I actually wanted to review products, especially skincare, to see if they actually worked or not.
Right.
And so a lot of people are like, Sonia, you charge a lot. And I'm like, I charge because I don't have no work done. This is actually how my skin looks. And I can actually give you, does it work or not?
Yeah, you can
and
actually see
and
the results.
yeah, and so that's why a lot of people ask me to do before and afters because my before and afters, my face will get snatched and I make their product look good. And so I think for me, you have to know your worth too in this space too. So don't sell yourself short. Don't ever do that.
So you talked about beauty standards, and you were recently telling me off camera about a situation that you had in Paris. How do you deal with people that still, whether it's in Paris, online, in comments, obviously we have figured out you really don't give a fuck, and we all love that. But for the people that do, right? Even if they're not on social media, if they come across like the situation that you had, a person that comes up to you and tells you what you should look like, what you should be, what would you tell that person that doesn't have that tough skin of yours? Which I do, but to be honest, there's been videos of mine that have gone viral that I don't want to look at the comments, because if you fall on the wrong side of TikTok, you have no control over that.
When it comes to comments and stuff like that, you got to remember they don't know your number, they don't pay your bills, they're just giving you a view and a comment.
Right.
And I think our society just worries about other people's opinions instead of yourself. And so I think it's very important to really focus on switching what's important when it comes to looking at yourself. So if somebody says something negative and you have 200 comments that are positive, why do you always look at the negative?
Well, I think as humans, naturally, they always say we remember easier bad memories. We remember or if I was to tell a stranger, name 10 things you don't like about yourself, they'll probably be able to name the 10 things before they can name the 3 things that they like about themselves. And it sucks. And I think that it's also about like rewiring your brain. I know for us that we're so much on camera, when people meet me and I, for example, don't care to capture every video or don't really care for you to take a picture of me, like I'm cool. They're like, "Oh, wait." I think because they see us creating so much content behind the scenes, they're like, this person must be so self-absorbed, so into herself. Like, I think I'm fly. I know I'm fly. I know I'm pretty. I know I'm beautiful. But there's so many elements to me that makes me beautiful. It has nothing to do
Mm-hmm.
whether I put a full face of makeup on or I don't. I can still feel beautiful either way. And like you were saying earlier, the 20s, 30s, 40s, and I do feel being in my 30s that I've started to realize, okay, what I love about myself and what I may not like, can I adjust it in a healthy way, whether it's being nicer to myself, saying nicer things, but then some things that are just what it is, like embracing it and just being like, well, you know what? If I am not a huge fan, let's say, of my arms, well, I love my boobs, or I love my legs, and just like
Mm-hmm.
amplifying that and sitting with myself and knowing that I'm a good person at the end of the day and nobody's perfect. But I think sometimes like that can get to people, and there's certain people, like certain friends of mine will see the comments and they'll be like, how do you deal with that? And I'm like, I just kind of don't. I think it's like at this point it's like the game that you're in, and you're just like, everybody that says something behind a screen is going to have something more to say because they're behind a screen. They're most likely never going to say it to your face unless they're embarrassed.
Unless they're in Paris. No, they won't say it to your face. And even if you see them in person, they ain't going to say it to your face.
Hmm.
And I think that's the bad thing about social media. Back in my day, like if we had a problem with somebody, we'd go to their house, we'd meet at the park, we say what we got to say in person. Nowadays, it's not like that. So I think when it comes to negative comments, you know, when I look at you and when I watch your lives, like, my opinion is different. I think you're beautiful without makeup.
Hmm.
And I know
Thank
that
you.
you feel beautiful with makeup, and that's how people look at, like, for me, like when I first started creating content, my whole point was not to use a filter. Number one, and number two, another thing was not to wear makeup. So the first year and a half, I didn't wear makeup.
Oh, wow.
And so I always told everybody that you need to feel comfortable in your raw, authentic self.
Yeah.
And in order for you to do that, you have to strip everything down that makes you feel beautiful. And so if you feel like, oh my God, like, oh, I look like a man now, or this or that, girl, when people come for me, especially on my ads, because I'll read them on Facebook, I'll read them, and I just be dying. I just be like, do you guys think that is honestly gonna hurt my feelings? And I
Right.
just go and on those comments and be like, okay. So the one that looks like 80 years old but doesn't wear sunscreen.
I just
Like,
say
don't
thanks for
come
the
for me.
engagement.
Right, because they're giving you engagement, they're giving you a view, but at the same time, if you're very sensitive to what people think of you, it's going to hurt you
Yeah.
and it's going to bug you.
Yeah.
And you have to kind of turn that into like, okay, why is it bugging me?
Have you ever had to?
Why?
Yeah.
hmm
Have you ever had to take a social media break?
I take social media breaks not for my mental health, but for just like a break
Yeah.
because we need a break. Like it gets tiring. You
Hmm.
you kind of run out of things to talk about, what to say. I think the first 2 years I would post every single day. And I think now that I've been in this for almost 4 years, I just feel like, I'm entitled to take a break. Like, we need a vacation. We need
Hmm.
our me time. We need our spaces to reset. And I think it's very important to reset. And there's nothing wrong with it. You don't have to announce it and say, oh, I need a reset. So you ain't going to see me for like a whole week.
Yeah.
Social media shouldn't be your life. You need to find a balance with your real life
Right.
and your career.
Yeah, I talk about that all the time because of the fact that people don't realize that if you're a creator, you don't have a 9 to 5. I've tried to implement more of like boundaries as I gotten into it more throughout the
hmm
years, but there are seasons where you kind of lose control of having boundaries and you burnt out because we're not robots, but sometimes brands and the audience sees us as robots and they're like, oh, you haven't posted anything today. Oh, you haven't done this. even just like with the amount of unboxing. You know, when it goes through seasons of like a new mascara, I'm like, how many eyes y'all think I have? Because I cannot do 12 mascaras coming to my house 1 week and I'm supposed to try them all. The same thing goes with skincare. Like, you guys want me just to break out for the sake of this? I was like, I can't. I just can't. So I have to pick and choose. And in the same token, pick and choose when I'm just like, this is probably like my management hates that I do this. I don't do the Sephora sale. I don't do it. I don't do it because everyone's doing it. And I'm like, the amount of overwhelmingness or whatever, I don't care.
Right.
I'm not going to be fighting. There's 500 videos of people saying, this is what you should get at the Sephora sale. Go watch one of their videos. I don't care. I'm not going to go bust my brains over to make sure I create content I want to create, but also need to create that because everyone's doing it and you just have to do it. If I don't want to, I'm not going to at this point. In the beginning, I was like, oh, I have to hit every mark, every sale, every holiday, every season. I don't care anymore. Like, I remember I would do back to school. I'm a college dropout. Why the fuck am I doing back to school?
Why are
Please.
you doing it? Why?
Right. No, now I'm not. I haven't done it. But the first 2 years, or like the first 3-4 years that I was like in the influencer space, I remember I would always be like, I have to do an LTK. I have to do a video. I have to do a blog post because I started with a blog. And I was like, why am I saying what you would wear back to school when I dropped out? That's not relatable to me because people like to see how I dress. But it doesn't match me. And I would be like, I could do without. It's okay.
But you dress fire though.
Thank
Every
you.
time I see her, I'm like,
She walked in and she was like, bitch, you said casual. I was like, it's a bodysuit.
I was like, I should have known better. I know her too well. I was like, okay.
No, but I love your sweater. It has
Thank
little
you.
pearls.
You know, it's my senora living my soft girl era.
What is your soft girl era at your 40s? What would you consider that?
I think for me, 40s can be a little bit different because 40-year-olds usually either have young kids, the kids are teenagers, or, you know, they're married. I just got a divorce, so
How long were you married?
too long.
I was married.
Oh, you were?
You didn't know that?
No, girl, I didn't.
Oh, you should listen to my podcast.
Oh, I should. You should tell me outside of this. But no, I got divorced and I feel like I got my freedom back and I feel like I got myself back. My kids live in Washington and I have adult kids. I don't have young ones. And I think a lot of times people are like, oh, you left your kids in Washington. Girl, my son's 30, 28, 26, and I have a 20-year-old. Like, come on.
Yeah.
It's time for mama to take care of herself and pick herself first and be a little bit of selfishness.
Right.
I've never been selfish in my life, and this is like the first time that I've been. And so I'm like, and put everybody else before me, and it's wonderful. I'm like, girl, like, don't call me at this time or this time. If you
Yeah.
guys call me and I don't answer, that means I'm busy.
Right. I'm busy with myself.
I'm busy with
Doing whatever the
myself.
fuck I
my
wanna do.
yeah, so my senora era is like very like I'm starting to get into like the way that I want to dress. Like my makeup isn't as dramatic as it was. Like I'm just like wanting to be more fragile with myself.
Not how long were you married, but how long were you in it? Like, at what age did you get into a serious relationship?
14, because I was a teen mom. I had my first son when I was 15.
Oh, wow.
Mhm.
So when you say you're really going now and being selfish to yourself, that's a real statement. From 14 years old, you've literally been giving yourself to a child and to a partner.
Yes, girl.
I
yes.
love this for you.
I
Because
know.
I always say, I think there's a level of selfishness that is healthy for every human to have.
Mhm.
And I think as women, as Latinas,
Mhm.
minorities,
Mhm.
it passes over our head. And you either feel guilty,
Right.
you either lose yourself. I lost myself in different seasons of my life, or you don't even know what it is like to care for you first. Because you were never taught that, maybe because your mother was so selfless and never taught you that. You never saw that around you or whatever. And I think that there's never too late for you to really change the narrative and the dynamic. But I think that more than ever in today's world, 30-year-olds are the new 20s and 40-year-olds are the new 30s of like back in the day. And I think it's like the prime time to live your best life, do what the fuck you want to do, switch yourself, because as women, we're always evolving. So you even talked about your makeup. Like, I mean, my makeup was horrible when I was in my 20s. It's like you always try to look older when you're younger.
Mhm.
And then you realize you really don't got to do that much.
You really don't got to do that much except, you know, wear some sunscreen and that's
Yeah.
pretty much it.
Yeah.
But I feel like when you're in a different era and you see that and you recognize that, you're like, okay, you kind of do a reset. And so you stay home and you try to figure out, okay, do I need to go out and act up or do I need to just stay home and be cool about it?
Yeah.
And I think for me, I was like, once this divorce is final, I'm going to change my name. So actually changed my socials 9 months prior to my divorce getting final. Now, let's talk about divorce. Divorce is one of those things that cost a lot of money. And
Yeah.
people don't realize, like, they will charge you 50 cents for them to email you one thing that you said yes. That's 50 cents. That's $1.50.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize that. And you also don't realize who you married when you're going through a divorce too,
Yeah.
because you're like, oh, I thought this was going to be cool. And it wasn't
Oh
cool.
no, divorce is the nastiest version of a person that you can see.
Especially if you ask for the divorce,
Yeah.
because I think
Oh wait,
women,
you asked for the divorce?
Yeah.
I did too.
yeah, I did. And I did it because I felt like, if you're not in a space where you're not in love anymore, you're just
Yeah.
wasting your time. And I think for me, since I was in my 40s, like, time was not on my hands either, because I was getting older. And I'm like, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to move out of a brand new house that I just moved into, and I'm going to leave and I'm going to go to California and see what happens. I did not know anybody. I knew one person actually. And they took me around, like, she took me around because I wasn't driving over here. Okay, girl. I was like, oh no, I cannot.
Wait, do you
And
drive now?
I do drive
okay.
now, but like when I first came, like, I came from a small space. Like,
Oh.
we didn't have traffic, girl. It took like 10 minutes. When it said 10 minutes, it said 10 minutes.
That's
It
cool.
wasn't like it's not like dealing with it now. So it was it was an adjustment just being here.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that soft girl era just hit in 2024, like maybe 6 months ago. Cause I was like, I don't know, something like, just like, I had this aha moment, like, man, you know what? I need to change up how I dress. I need to change this. I need to change that. And I can do whatever the fuck I want.
Yeah.
And so when it came to buying a house and like furnishing it, as before, like when you do have kids, like you pour, water in everybody else's cup, but yourself, and then you lose a lot of yourself when you don't know what you want.
Right.
So it's kind of like, what do I want in this lifetime? Like when it comes to your space. And so I got to buy furniture that I haven't bought in a minute, because I had boys, so they would wreck everything, girl.
Mm-hmm.
When I tell you, like, I would get used furniture. Now I'm all about like linens, and like everything has to match, and the aesthetic has to be very clean. I'm a very clean person. So it's like, I don't like clutter. And except my beauty space is a little clutter because, as you said, we get so much stuff.
Yeah.
And so I just can't keep up with it. And I just feel like when you live in your soft girl, well, soft senora era, I feel like you start shifting.
Mm-hmm.
And when it comes to shifting, that means like you like pajamas, you like what the older ladies like, pajamas, skincare, going traveling, going with your friends, having a margarita at 2 p.m., going to brunch. Brunch is a thing. I love
Well,
brunch.
I think also because you were married for so long and you were a mom, you are a mom, and you were
Mhm.
taking care of the kids and everything, there was possible big chunk of your life that you didn't get to experience, and you didn't give yourself that time that, like, for example, I am giving myself right now, but I didn't go through the college season. One, because I was a college dropout, but also because I got married at 21. I was engaged at 19. So the 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25-year-old experience that
Mhm.
so many women have, I never had. So by the time I filed for divorce at 25, I was like, wait, I feel like now I'm going into like discovery of self, which was 26 to now
Mhm.
33. Where for you, it's now that you've changed and did such a big shift in your life, you're experiencing and being able to give time to things that you maybe never gave time to do.
Or I didn't give a fuck either.
Yeah, you didn't. It wasn't
Honestly,
of
it
interest
wasn't.
of
It
you.
wasn't important to me
Yeah.
at the time, because it's like you take care of the kids. Like they have things that they want to do, sports, and sports took a lot of my life too, because my kids were in sports and it was expensive, and it was like, man, they went to college, and you have all these different personalities that you have to treat different too. So when you have 4 kids, you're like, 4 kids, wow, that's a loud house. You had to deal with like their friends, and like them having girlfriends, and then them leaving to college. Like, it's a whole emotional roller coaster. But then when you find yourself and you're like, you know what, I'm an empty nester now. I'm gonna do me. A lot of moms have a hard time trying to be happy, trying to find themselves because they're so busy being a parent. And I had no problem being like, adios, I'm living my best life right now. Leave me alone. And so one of my sons told me, Mom, like, I remember you used to like answer my phone calls. Now you like ignore me. I was like, cause you guys are old. Like, you guys need to figure it out.
Yeah.
Like that I figured it out, you have to figure it out. And I think, in your 20s, like when you're a mom, you're like, oh my God, like, I don't know what I'm doing. In your 30s, you start to know what you're doing. And then in your 40s, you're like, okay, get it together.
Yeah.
Because we always have to have tough skin. And I think now it's changing to where you can be 30, 35 and then start a family if you want. And back then it wasn't like that. It was kind of like, you need to be with somebody, you need to get married, you need to have kids. Like they set your standard of
Mhm.
what it was supposed to look like.
I remember I had a whole timeline. I was like, okay,
Mhm.
I got engaged at 19, cool. I'm building a business and got married at 21. Okay, around 24, 25, we're gonna start talking about kids, and then I got divorced. And so it
Mhm.
was like, whoop, my world flipped upside down, and I was like, wait, no, the timeline's wrong. I'm messed up. And now that I'm sitting at 33, I'm like, okay, yeah, maybe I'm not gonna be that mom that was 21 years old, but who's to say I can't be the mom at 37 and that still be okay? I have so many things I still want to accomplish. And for me, the way I'm trying to process it when it isn't coming to me for whatever reason, there's clearly a purpose in my life right now that I am fulfilling. And I'm just going to sit with that and know that when I'm supposed to, it will happen. And aside that, I'm just going to try to figure out what I'm doing because I have so many friends that had kids at a young age. And I just feel like for me, I'm okay being La tia era.
Mhm.
I'm good with that because I can give them back home.
Yeah, you can just give them back. I'm a grandma too, so being a grandma is a totally different vibe too because you love them more than you love your kids. So now, like, if one of my sons has a daughter or a son, I'm just gonna be like, "Who are you? Where's my grandkid at?" So I just feel like, with different experiences, you'll start acting a little bit different, and it life will shift. But
Mhm.
I think for you too, like I know that you're looking for love and all that, but you need to just focus on yourself and love yourself in order for it to come to you. And it's going to come to you when you least expect it, because we have had conversations
Yeah.
outside of this. And and I always talk to you girls because I'm like, girl, just when you want it, and then when it comes, you're going to be like, I don't know if I want this or not, because your life is going to change and you're going to have to make sacrifices, and you're going to have to, you have to balance that life out.
I told that to somebody the other day because I obviously know myself as a married woman. And even though I've changed and evolved since then, I just know myself. And I know that when I'm in a partnership, I'm in a partnership
Hmm.
and I will help them elevate. I will help them have everything they need. I will be help them on the business mind and in the spiritual and in the emotional and the mental and everything. And I take a back seat.
It's the
Like,
Latina in you.
yeah, it just happens. Like I will
Hmm.
have a career while helping you in your career and still giving you lunch, breakfast, dinner, everything and snacks in between, And it's just
Hmm.
like, it's just who I am. And I shared to my friend the other day, I said, I know I'm single because God genuinely wants me to be selfish. He is saying, you have plans, you have goals. I want to help you achieve them. I need you to trust in me and don't see this as a moment of insecurity. Don't see this as a season of lack, but see this as a season where I want you to bloom into your
Hmm.
best self. And I've just been sitting in that. I mean, it doesn't mean I don't go on a little date here and there, but
How's that
it's
for you?
good.
Oh,
I
okay.
want to
Well,
know though, do you go on dates? Are you open to dating?
have I been dating? The answer to that is yes, I've been dating.
Are you on the apps or how do you find people?
No.
How do you meet them? Do they
Okay,
go up
well,
to you?
first of
Do they
all,
slide in your DMs?
okay, let's back it up, girl. I'm old school, and for me, I'm an Aquarius, and communication, like if you
Wait,
can
when's your
communicate,
birthday?
February 5th.
My mom's February 8th.
Yeah, so if you can't have a conversation with me, I won't fuck with you. I don't even care how you look, how much money you have. I don't give a fuck what you're doing in your life. If you cannot communicate, I just don't have the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like when it comes to dating, I'm old school, and I was dating somebody for a minute, but it just didn't work out because of communication.
Mm-hmm.
And I think too, people don't take accountability for a lot of things of
Yeah.
what they say. A lot of people always want to put everything on you because you're so blunt and you're so like, so of course people are going to believe the hype. But I just feel like with dating, it's just very like you have to be ready for it. And I think for me, I just don't like a lot of people in my space, and I'm very private when it comes to that, especially like on social media.
Mm-hmm.
Like people be like, "Oh, are you dating?" Or like, and I'd be like, "No, I'm not," because I just feel like, you know, we put so much of ourselves out there that everybody knows that I just need to like save some stuff for me.
Yeah, I
And
always
I
say
think,
protect what you care for.
yeah, but I think a lot of people, when you date, they don't like that shit.
Mm-hmm.
They don't like it. They're like, "Oh, why are you keeping me a secret?" You're like, and it doesn't have anything to do with them. It's just, it has a lot to do with you because you're so private about
Yeah.
it. And so that was one of the things that just didn't work out because of that
Oh,
reason.
they wanted to like be public?
Yeah, they wanted me to just be out there and act right. And I'm just like, I don't want to do that.
Yeah. I had a really public marriage
Mm-hmm.
and relationship, and I experienced it. I think I was also really young.
Mm-hmm.
Who I've dated since then, I've never posted on social media. I've
No.
never taken them to a beauty event. I've never, with one of them, we did do a public event that was on their line of work.
Mm-hmm.
But even with that, I was just like, I never craved it because I saw what happened from when I was so public and how it just starts becoming where even if you say you don't want to, if you don't post after a certain amount of weeks or whatever, oh, they must be having problems. They must have been this. Then people's opinion of it, even nowadays, from, I mean, when I was in a relationship, it was like 2012, 2013, 2014. But now, even more so, I just rather solidify and continue myself solely. And in this realm of social media, I am this person, and whatever happens in the other realm of my private life, that is me in my private life.
Yeah, and if you see me with that
Yeah, I'm
person,
not
you
gonna
see me
hide
with
it.
that
I
person.
think there's a
Yeah.
big
Mm-hmm.
difference of hiding a relationship where you could disrespect the relationship and just being private about your relationship.
Mm-hmm.
My friends are gonna see me with the person if I'm dating them in
Yeah.
casual gatherings, whatever. But
Mm-hmm.
I don't need to bring you in spaces that don't really make sense.
That's what I'm talking about. I think when it comes to that, you kind of want it to be private because, you know, like you said, like people are always going to be like asking. And then if it doesn't work out, then you're just going to be like, "Oh my God, it just didn't work out." But I just feel like, yeah, there's a difference between, I think people get confused on that too, because it's like, "Oh, you know, you don't want to say anything about me, but you're over there." It doesn't even matter. What it is I'm learning,
Mhm.
and that's the first thing that I tell people is that if me and you are going to date, I'm not going to put you on nothing. Like, no one's going to know.
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck who you are. Like, I will support you in the back end of it. It's
Mhm.
like behind the scenes. And so I think too, like we as women, especially Latina women, we put our all our eggs in one basket instead of giving a little here and there. And that's what I have learned. So the next time I gonna date, you're not gonna know where I live. I'm not gonna cook for you. I ain't doing shit for you. You're gonna be doing shit for me. You're gonna take me out to motherfucking dinner. I'm not gonna do what I'm used to doing just to shift it. Because I think if we give all ourselves at all one time, like it's just too much and they expect it.
Yeah.
And then when they expect it and then you stop doing it, then they feel entitled.
Yeah. Well,
Mm-hmm.
the thing for me that I was listening to a podcast of a friend of mine, and it's a guy's podcast, and they were saying they didn't understand girls or women that thought in the way of, I'm not going to cook for you because you're not like my man, or you're not my husband. But so then I told him, I was like, hey, I listened to the podcast episode and I have something to say about it. And he was like, what do you say? I was like, I don't agree. I don't agree because the reality is I don't even cook for myself sometimes because I'm so busy. So when I'm cooking for you is a service of love. It's a
Mhm.
way I'm showing you love. And if we're not there at that level, why am I doing so much for you that to you could turn into my normalcy when in reality it's me extending myself and showing you different versions of myself because I care. And I said,
Mhm.
and that's my problem of why when I'm dating someone, guys love to say this, are you gonna cook for me? And it gives me the ick. No, I'm not gonna freaking cook for you. Like, no. I was like, I just met you. What are you talking about? And I say it because there's this idea of I have to win you over.
Mhm.
And for me, in my Latinidad, I
Mhm.
know that I could have the tendency of cooking for you in hopes that I win you over. So I have to stop myself to not put all my eggs in one basket and be
Mhm.
like, they need to like me for who I am without the extra. And when the extra comes, that's an added bonus.
That's a bonus. That's like a cherry on top. That's the sprinkles. That's the extra toppings. You ain't getting that in
Mhm.
2025. I'm sorry. So whoever I'm gonna date in 2025, you're gonna serve me.
Yeah. Well, I think also because naturally as women, even if we're not cooking in the first 3 months, 6 months, whatever, we're still naturally going to be doing things that,
Hmm. We'll do other things.
yeah,
We won't cook for you.
yeah.
But you know what? If you want a sandwich, maybe I'll make you a peanut butter and jelly.
And
I ain't gonna make you no.
toast it a little bit.
I ain't gonna make you no enchiladas, Mexican. I ain't gonna do all that.
We're
I
not
ain't
going
gonna
to do
make you
things from
pozole.
scratch.
I'm
Yeah.
not gonna. I'm not gonna do all that right now. But know that I can
Yeah.
if I wanted to.
Right.
And I feel like whatever you put in the relationship, they're gonna put back. And I feel like we put so much into a relationship that most of the time we don't get that back. So that's why it's like a shift. Like we're learning. It's like a learning process when it comes to like dating,
Yeah.
finding yourself. And yeah, so like dating right now for me is like non-existent right now. I'm dating myself. I'm dating three people, me, myself, and I.
I love that.
That's who I'm dating.
I love that because I think that in that time of our lives, though, you find out so many things about yourself. I went on a date recently, and my friend was like, "Why did you go on the date if you don't really like feel him?" And I said, "Well, to be honest, I went on the date because I wanted to know what do I like today." I was like, I haven't dated in so long that I'm basing what I like from the last person I dated, and I need to know who Yanina today what she likes, you know? And I was like, and I do that in self and if I'm going on a date with someone. So from sitting down and having a dinner with yourself or with someone else, you're able to figure out, oh, okay, they did something here and that was really sweet. And 26-year-old me would have probably it would have surpassed. And now 33-year-old me was like, wow, that was really intentional and I really appreciate that. Where at the same time, when dating myself, I've been able to figure out, oh, you feel so much better when you start saying no. You feel so much better when you make time for yourself. You no longer feel guilty for doing this, but you also don't need to show up to everything. Like
Mm-hmm.
everybody knows me. I go to many events, right? It's
Yes, you
it's
do,
my
girl.
number one way to network because I haven't had the success of a lot of viral moments or like big growth in numbers, yet a lot of people know me. Why? I don't freaking know. Whatever. But point is, I've been able to work with many brands that even some of my friends that are 500,000, a million haven't been able to because I've been able to make connections. But now in 2024, more in the last 6 months, I've told myself, hey, you've done a good job. You can slow down a little bit.
Yeah, kick back, Jack.
Yeah. You
Slow
don't
your
have to
roll,
go.
girl.
Yeah. You don't have to go to every event. You've done the hard work.
Mm-hmm.
I've been doing this since 2015. So it's like I've done the events, I've done the networking, I've done the coffees, I've done the dinners, I've done all of that. Now it's like let it speak for itself. You've created the path, you created the foundation, trust in it. And I think a lot of times too, like creators that maybe are having a hard time growing or a hard time getting to what society or the industry says is successful, but in the sense of numbers or having many viral moments or whatever, think that they can't make it. This is my full-time job. I've made a good living and I'm still under 100,000 followers. So it's like I think that idea of it, you started in 2021.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's so many different timelines for people that I think that as long as you do a good grounding foundation of it, then it's just like, okay, you know how to do it.
Yeah, because you put the hard work
Right.
in. And I feel like when you put the hard work in and you network and you do what you have to do, then you can kick back and relax. Because sometimes we don't know how to kick back because we
Yeah.
do so much. And if we're not doing anything, then, oh, I'm lazy. I need to do something.
Or I'm gonna get forgotten.
Yeah, or I'm gonna get. And I think for me, like when I first started this, I'm like, I'm still gonna stay true to myself. I'm gonna remain humble regardless of what happens. So I don't put a lot of all of that on myself. I just kind of like, whatever I feel, whatever Sonia's in the mood for today, that's what you're gonna get. You don't know if you're gonna get spicy. You don't know if you're gonna get humor. You don't know what you're gonna get. But if you watch my content, don't drink anything because you might spit whatever you're drinking out because I be saying some stuff and when I play it back, I just be like, where did I come up with this shit? Like, what the hell? But I think it's gonna, content creation is gonna be more of a shift. It's gonna
Yeah.
be more of you being true to yourself.
Mhm.
And I think a lot of times people are starting to figure that out, that you don't have to be, it doesn't have to be professional anymore, and you can cuss in your content now. And I remember when I first started, I was probably the only one that was cussing, and people were like, girl, you need to stop. And I'm
Mhm.
like, but this is the way that I talk, and I'm not gonna stop being myself just to make you feel comfortable. And I've always told myself that, even when I came over here and lived in LA, I'm still the same person that, yeah, I'm still the same person. Honestly, I just have a little bit more money and I have more freedom.
What is something that you haven't achieved yet in your señora era that you want to do for yourself?
Let me think about this, because I think in 2024, I said, I'm going to buy a house, and I already did that. And then I said, my mom's going to come and live with me so she doesn't have to worry about paying bills. I did that. And I think the next goal for me, honestly, is just to buy other properties so my kids can live in it.
Okay.
So I think that's what my goals are. I don't think necessarily like, oh, I want to go on vacation, or I just, it's kind of like just creating a space for my kids to be more free.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Solidifying your coop.
Yeah, that's it.
I love that.
I think for now, oh, and having a pool in my backyard.
Okay. Do you have
Okay.
the space for it in your
I
current
do
house?
have the space,
Okay.
and I want to do and build an ADU on back of it too.
What's
So
that?
yeah, an ADU is like you can do like an apartment in the back, like
Oh, like an efficiency, like a little.
yeah,
Okay.
like maybe like a studio or like a 1 bedroom.
Do you want to rent it out or do you want it for?
Well, I actually probably gonna have my mom live in it,
Okay.
so I can have my house back.
Yeah. You're like, I love you, mom, but you need your own space.
No, I think, when it comes to women, I think she does need her own space, and I think she would appreciate that. She has her dogs, and I think when you see older women, you kind of look at them like, you know, you need your space, lady. You need your space, and you need to start dating, and you need to start finding yourself, and So I'm trying to help her with that, but sometimes you can't help women. You want to, inspire women to do better for themselves, and most of us don't, because it's kind of hard. It's like, oh no, I do little things for me here and there. Well, what do you actually do for
Right.
yourself? You don't.
Yeah. I think that I was such a person that wanted the people around me, specifically my immediate family, to see what I see in them. And in the last year and a half, I've become a lot quieter
Mhm.
because it was draining me in seeing that they were limiting themselves no matter what I said. And the other day, I was having a conversation with one of my family members, and they were like, "Oh, have you checked in on so and so?" And I said, "No." And they were like, "Why?" And I said, "Because it's their life. They have to do it at their own time. I can sprinkle and put the seed. They got to water it."
Well, yeah, because you're gonna give them the access to it, but they just have to receive
Yeah.
that access.
And now I've just decided that if I just live and try to show how I'm moving in my way, I hope that it can inspire them to want more for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Not as comparison,
Mm-hmm.
but just for themselves.
Yeah, I think when it comes to people, you can just encourage them, and that's pretty much it. I don't really judge or criticize or do anything like that with my family members, because I have some crazy ass family members, let me tell you. But I just feel like that's probably the reason why I can read a lot of people too. Like when I
Mhm.
meet you, like I'll know if I like you or not just based on my crazy family that I
Yeah.
have, because it's all
Right.
dysfunctional. Like we have a dysfunctional family, and I just be like, girl, you act like my Thea. I'm staying away from you.
Oh, yeah, for
And it's
sure.
all about like energy too and stuff like that. But yeah, like you can go and give somebody advice. It doesn't even have to be your family member. And if they take it, they take it. If they don't, they don't. Like you're giving them a piece of advice. And I have learned to, like, I'll tell you a couple times. And if you don't listen the third time, I ain't gonna say nothing.
Well, I've also learned throughout life, and I think that now when I see people doing it, it irks me so much. And I was like, I was that bitch a few years ago, probably, where it's like, you don't always need to give advice.
No, you don't. You just
Don't
sit
give
there.
advice unless you're asked to give advice, because not
Mhm.
everyone needs your advice.
Right.
And not everybody is one ready to hear it. And also, you're not always the person that should be giving advice on certain topics.
Mhm.
I always say, if you haven't mastered that level of your life, don't give advice on it.
Right.
And
There's a
also
lot of,
don't listen
yeah.
to people. Like if you haven't
Mhm.
if somebody hasn't mastered their life and finances, why are you going and asking them for financial help? Make it make sense. Like, and the same thing goes for every category, like
Mhm.
I can only give my friends so much advice about relationships because I'm currently not in one. I
Mhm.
don't know how 33-year-old Yanina would act on certain things. I can think, but I'm not actively in a relationship to experience and do the exercise of how would I actually deal with that
Mhm.
scenario.
Mhm.
So if you ask for it, I'll give you my advice, but I'm also going to be like, maybe you should ask so and so too, just to get their idea, you know? And like,
Mhm.
and also just sit with yourself. All I realized too, in at 33, I don't really ask for advice. I just sit with myself and I trust in who I am and listening to, if you just sit for a moment and process your thought, you're going to have the answer. Because at the end of the day, if I can move with peace knowing that I made the decision, then I'm
Mhm.
cool.
Well, when you're in your 40s, 50s, and 60s, you're used to asking for advice. And I think, like, for us, like, a lot of people know if they ask me for advice, I'm going to tell them the truth. I'm
Mhm.
the type of person that I'm going to tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. So they know when they ask me, it's going to come with facts. And I think life experiences too, especially when you have a lot of negative life
Mhm.
experiences, you can give that advice too. But it just depends if you want to hear it or not. So when I give advice, I'm talking about like, hey, how come you haven't posted? Or how come you're not being a content creator, knowing I know that you can do this or that? And then they're just like, I know, I just don't have time. And then that's pretty much it, because
Yeah.
then they tell me what it is. I ask the question, and then when they tell me something, then I'm like, okay, I'll just leave you alone.
Mhm.
But I know if I see something in you, I will ask you.
Mhm.
I'll only ask you twice though. And after the third time, I won't. And then they'll be like, how come you haven't asked me? I go, asked you what?
Right. But también you're not their mom.
No, I'm
Right.
like, look, I told you twice and you haven't listened the first two times. I'm like, I'm going to save my breath.
Yeah.
So I think when it does come to advice and stuff like that, it could be anything, when it comes to like kids, if it comes to relationships, like even though you're not in a relationship, you can still give advice on what you experienced. You
Mhm.
know what I mean? And I feel like sometimes people don't like to hear advice because they don't want to hear the truth.
Yeah.
The truth hurts. And I think you have to be honest with yourself. And sometimes you don't want to hear the truth. And I have a friend that I actually like, we can go back and forth, and she can be honest with me and I can be honest with her, and we don't like get offended.
Oh yeah.
And sometimes if you do that with other people, people get offended,
Oh yeah,
girl.
1000%.
They will kill the messenger. They'll be like, I was like, girl, you just asked me.
You
Then
ask me
don't ask
right.
me.
Don't ask me for, yeah, cuz I feel like sometimes people want you to be a yes man, and I am not going to be a yes man in a
Yeah, me
friendship.
neither.
I love when people call me out, like respectfully, but
Hmm.
I need my friends to call me out cuz I don't know it all, and sometimes I could just be a little bit of a daydreamer, that either I'm a daydreamer, I'm an extremist. I'm either a daydreamer or I'll be really hard on myself. And they're like, "Okay, let's bring you back to center." And I'm like, "Okay, but tell me, what is the truth in this and what the fuck am I acting crazy about?" They were
Hmm.
like, "Okay, this, and this." And I'm like, "Okay, this is a lie and this is truth. Cool, perfect." But if I'm around a friend and they're like kissing my ass the whole time, or they're never telling me about, like, I didn't like this, I didn't like that. Even like, I can have an attitude problem when I get overwhelmed out of like not noticing that I'm like overwhelmed, and I talk a little
Not you.
I talk a little like stern in my head, but they're like, "Nah, bitch, you talked crazy just
You're
now."
like, you're weird. Like,
Yeah.
like you had that attitude. You were acting like a brat.
Right. But the moment they'll check me, I'll be like, "Sorry, I didn't mean to say it that way." Like, other people would be like, "That's what you're gonna get. That's what," and I'm like, "Whoa, that's not the vibe I'm on." So I appreciate having friends or colleagues that are like, "Hey, let me tell you this about yourself," or "Let me tell you what I've noticed," or even people in the past on in the work side that have been like, "I think you should try this," or "I think you should try that." Like, I love it because I just feel like I don't know it all. I know a lot about myself,
Hmm.
but
You don't see other people's view of yourself, and
yeah.
so they kind of watch you, like when you're like doing something professionally or
Yeah.
like on a friendship level. They pay attention, and I think that's good friends to have too. Because if you have friends that are not paying attention, so like if you're having like a bad mental week and they don't notice you,
Mhm.
you need to get rid of them,
Yeah.
because that's just a waste of time, energy, and like you're gonna lose a lot of friends. Friends are like seasons. Some of
Mhm.
them are gonna stay, some of them are gonna have to go.
I just don't like convenience friends. I don't
Yeah.
need you to be my friend cuando te
Oh, so
conviene.
what are you doing? Like what
Yeah.
event are you gonna go
Or
to?
like just this season because you feel lonely, or this season because you're wanting to get into content creation, and out of nowhere you're like sweet talking me and wanting to hang out a
Mhm.
lot in
Mhm.
hopes that I invite you as a plus one to every event.
Mhm.
Or if you just happen to, if you're like the kind of friend that only has friends when you're single, but then the moment you get into a relationship, you like disappear. Or the type of friend that like you see the type of rooms I'm getting into, and then you're like getting close to me just because you want to elevate, and it's not really because you care about my being.
Or even like being in an actual support system. Because I
Yeah.
think when it comes to people supporting you, you'll notice it like immediately. Like
Mm-hmm.
you'll know when people are doing what they're trying to be doing, being that sneaky, you know, opportunist. And then, content creators are like that
Yeah.
too. You know what I mean? I know a lot of them. I know a lot of fake ones too.
Yeah.
And I just be like, people are going to show you who they are the first 5 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter. Like if they start talking about people, you already know.
Yeah.
Okay, they're going to talk about you.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just think like when it comes to friends and having like a small circle, I think it's very important for it to be very small. I think you need one friend to tell all your business to vent, to cry, to act up. You just and then you need like two other friends just to kick it.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you go and you tell your three little friends like all your business, then that's I have two friends. One is an Aquarius like me, and one is a little softy. So I get
What's the softy sign?
two different
Yeah.
vibes. And so like, but she can be an asshole too. Just because she's soft does not mean nothing. Cause then she should like if I press her,
Yeah.
she's like, okay, Sonia.
You like the tough love.
Well, I've grew up in a tough love environment,
Mm-hmm.
but that's why I'm saying I'm living in my soft girl era.
Mm-hmm.
But if I have to give you a critique and you're not taking it because I'm giving it to you the way that I know that I have to give it to you,
Yeah.
and if it doesn't work, then I'm gonna say it straight. So like I have two friends. One I can say whatever I want. She's not sensitive to it, and then the other one I have to talk to her a certain way.
Yeah.
So when you have friends, you have to do that. It's like having children.
Yeah, when that there was a leader, not a leader. There was an owner of a company that once told me to be a great leader, you have to know what language to speak to people because
Yeah.
everyone's going to hear it and translate it differently. And I think that it's so important. I actually ended a friendship with someone because they talked so cruel when they would and they were like, this is how I speak, and I'm like, this is not okay though.
It's the
If I'm
delivery.
yeah, if I'm
Mhm.
telling you I feel offended or I don't like and I can't grasp what you're saying and the way you're talking to me,
Mhm.
can you just change it a little bit? And you tell me no, then do you even care about our friendship? You know?
Right.
So,
Because she's not willing to change. And I think sometimes too, you have to be more open minded. And
mhm.
a lot of people aren't. They're like, this is who I am. And honestly, when I first came over here, that's how I was. I wasn't really open minded. I was kind of closed off ish. I didn't have a wall in front of me, but I had a screen. And
Mhm.
when I say a screen, it's like a thick
Yeah.
screen. Now I just have like a little
Bulletproof.
light, like a little like a little screen that I can visually see your energy,
Yeah.
and I just stay away from you if I don't.
Yeah.
I just be like, "Hi, I'm very respectful when it comes to that, but I just won't fuck with you outside of it.
Right.
Like I won't mess with you. Like I won't. Like I just be like I just cannot." But I just feel like you need women in your life too, and I think when me growing up Mexican, we always got compared to like our cousins. Like, how come you can't be like your sister? Why you have to be bad? Because I was bad. And I think that comparison, when you had friends and when you chose your friends when you were in your 20s and 30s, it was all about like traumatic experiences. Like you went through that. Oh, okay, we can be friends.
Right. Trauma bonding.
Yeah, and I feel like when you're in your 40s, it's kind of like, I've been friends with her for 20 years and she still don't remember my birthday. So I just think it's very important to shift your friends
Yeah.
too. And it's also important to really recognize, who's going to be in your life. And
Mhm.
so I just feel like, friendships are like seasons, so are family members.
Mhm.
So parents can be part of that. Any type of relationship.
Mhm.
It can be love, it can be family, it can be friends, it can be
Business.
business, it could be anything.
Now, I know that the people that are going to watch are going to be like, okay, now we need to know the tea on her favorites because that's what you're known for.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to say different topics and you're going to tell me your top product for it.
Okay. How
Okay.
many?
5.
Okay.
Oh, one product for each thing.
Oh, okay.
Okay, ready? Favorite serum. Because we just had a whole controversy about the fact that you don't like one specific popular serum.
Okay, the Smart Response Serum from Dermalogica.
Okay, favorite foundation. Because I've seen a lot of your videos about you not liking a lot of foundations, but some foundations you do like for mature skin. So what's your favorite?
I think for me, I'm an Aquarius. I get bored easy, so I have like top 5. But
Okay.
the current one that I really use all the time is two different ones, Beauty Blender Skin Tint or the CL Skin Tint.
Okay, so they're both skin tints. They're
Yeah,
not
there's
even
four.
like foundations, foundations.
But if it's a foundation, I like the Huda Easy Blur
Mhm.
or the Dior Skin Forever Glow.
Is that the stick?
No, that's
Like liquid?
yeah, this one's a
Okay.
liquid.
Okay. Concealer.
I like Lancome Serum Concealer or Tower 28.
Okay. Trying to think what else. Can't live without makeup product.
Probably an eyelash curler because it
Really?
opens up the eyes.
Okay. And last but not least, moisturizer.
I think when it comes to moisturizer, I have like combination skin, oily skin, mature skin, menopause skin. So every day is different. But one of the products that I do like is the smoothing cream from Dermalogica.
Mm. Do you like the cosmetics moisturizer?
The confidence in a cream.
Yeah.
I think that cream is like an OG cream. Is
That's a
it?
dark blue bottle, right? With the like lavender.
No,
No.
no, that's
Oh.
the night one.
Oh,
No,
okay.
I don't like that one. That one has too much fragrance in it.
That's okay. That's what I figured. My mom likes another one.
Which one does she like?
I always get it for her, and she always like uses it up, and she's like, "I love it." But
Is it the Caudalie Premier Crew?
it's it cosmetics.
Oh, okay.
But I'm trying to remember.
Is it confidence in a cream?
Probably.
Is it yellow?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's confidence in a
Okay.
cream. That's the OG. That's a good one.
Yeah. And which is your favorite? What you said right now is what?
The smoothing cream. So for me, when it comes to a moisturizer, I actually want it to hydrate. I really don't care about anti-aging
Mm-hmm.
because I use a retinol at night. I think when it comes to anti-aging products, I think one things that you actually really need to focus on is cleansing the skin.
Mm-hmm.
And the second thing is moisturizing and the third is using sunscreen and then reapplying it throughout the day. And I think the most important thing when it comes to skincare is cleansing.
And your favorite cleanser is a powdered dermalogical one, or which one?
It's the special cleansing gel from Dermalogica or Shani Darden serum concealer. I mean serum. What is it called?
No.
Shani Darden
The
cleansing serum.
Yeah, I love Shani Darden stuff. It's really
Yeah.
really good. Have you tried her toner?
Yeah, I've tried
Yeah.
everything. Her tonic. Yeah. So when she first launched, she had a tonic. It was the Suki Essence toner.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's just an essence, which she did a really good job. I like her products. I think, she should be more viral.
I think so too, but I think it's because of the fact that she started in the celebrity world and she became very niche in that world, and now she's starting to try to expand outside of it. But
But have you seen her skin and how she looks?
yeah, she actually did a facial on me one time for Garnier, had an event. Listen, I've never done a facial with this woman afterwards because she's expensive, but the way I didn't have blackheads, my skin glowed for like glowed, is that a word? I don't know. But my skin glue, no. It was
No, it
glowing.
glowed up.
It was
Yeah, it was
it was
glowing.
glowing. My skin was glowing for probably 4 days, and that's after rinsing and everything, after makeup. My skin was naturally glowing insanely. No serum has ever done it. My blackheads that I get in my nose, I did not have blackheads for 3.5 weeks. I remember sending a picture to my friend that at the time was working at Garnier, Jasmine. Do you know Jasmine?
Mm-mm, I don't know her.
And I was like, what did this woman do to me? Because I've never had a facial like this. And I get facials once a month. Still to that day, I have not had a facial where I've had those kind of results.
How much is she anyway?
You know, I might be wrong because I think I pay like 300 for my facials and I think she's 350. So it's really not that far off and I should just go do it. But I don't know if that's a facial at her space and not a facial with her. Last time I looked, I think her facials were 500.
Yeah, because she does this like
The oxygen thing.
yeah, but
Oxygen
she
dome.
does this like mask thing that she
Oh.
puts on the face.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, do you have the at-home mask? That's a really
Yeah.
good mask.
All her products are good,
Like
honestly.
I use
hands down.
what is it? The activating one, and then I use that probably like every 2-3 weeks. It's so good. But I definitely think this turned into a whole ad for Shani Darden. Try Shani Darden. No, I love her. I think she's so good. I hope she gets known
No,
more.
but it's organic. Like
Yeah.
we're not. I mean, I did a partnership with Shawnee a long time ago, but I haven't. But she has really great products. Like
Yeah.
I can't lie. I mean, if we want to talk about skincare for over mature ladies, like you need to use like Medigate. Medigate's from the UK. Dermalogica's OG. They have a school and they teach estheticians. Like hands down, one of the best. Murad is good.
Mm.
Rock Skincare is good if you want affordability. I just feel like when it comes to products that actually work, those are the brands that you guys need to go to and like support.
What's your favorite under eye cream?
So when it comes to under eyes, I use two two different ones. One in the morning, I use like the Rock Dual Eye Cream. That one
Mhm.
is good. You can use it at night too. It's affordable. Another product that I like is the Summer Fridays eye cream. Have you used it? That one is good, but it's only for night.
Mm.
But I do like the Dermalogica Peptide Awake Cream and the Skin Fix Eye Cream.
Oh, okay. I've only used the Jet Lat mask from Summer Fridays when it first came out, and then I recently used their sunscreen. For sunscreen for the reapplication, do you use a sunscreen that's a spray?
Mm-hmm.
Which brand?
Kula.
Oh, okay. Have you ever tried Naked Sundays?
I have.
Did you like them or not really?
I mean, I like them, but like their pump, like their spray gets very stuck
Oh.
because it's very sticky. So I like Kula and I like Vacation better.
Oh, yeah, Vacation does have one. Okay. Well, everybody, I hope they're shopping.
I hope they're shopping. Hey, we're not talking about nothing, but she asked me.
I know.
I had to share the tea of what I liked.
No, because if she doesn't like it, she will let you know.
Yeah, there's a lot of products I
What was
don't
the
like.
video that you did recently? Oh my God, it was a foundation and you were like, this is trash. And you threw it was like, y'all are lying to me. This is not good. You were like,
Oh,
okay.
it was Estee Lauder Double Wear.
Yes, there we go.
I said it's the wackest product of all time.
I was dying laughing at that video because I was like, oh my God, Estee Lauder's looking to the side like,
No,
hi.
Estee Lauder actually hit me up actually and wanted me to do a video for them. And I said, no, didn't you just see my video? I had to say no to that, but I do like Bobby Brown and I know you guys own that. So I ended up getting a partnership from
I
them.
love that. I love Bobby Brown. So good. Have you tried Hourglass?
Yeah.
Okay. Got it. All right.
Do you like Hourglass?
I do. I think maybe it's because
Look, I have homegirls that like Hourglass. I'm not going to hate on them. I just think that it's overly hyped, just like a lot of other things that are overly hyped
Yeah.
that we can talk about. But I just feel like I'm very honest. So don't be scared. I will take the heat.
You know
I
what
will
it-
take the heat.
you know what it is that I'm more of like I work so much on my skin that I'm more of a skin tint girl. So that's why I actually am not a fan of the Estee Lauder foundation because it's so thick to me.
Oh, it's thick, but it's a dinosaur, girl. It's like
Yeah.
the formulation was like made in 1970.
No, and people love for weddings and this and that. And I'm like, no, I get asked about it at least once every time I go on live. Have you tried Estee Lauder's foundation when I'm doing my Get Ready With Me on TikToks? And I'm like, I don't like it. It's too heavy for me. I will do one pump of foundation, or if I'm using a foundation, I'm using a more buildable foundation.
Which one do you use?
Foundation? I like the Huda Beauty a lot.
Oh, the Easy Blur? Oh, yeah, I have
I
that
love
on
it.
today. It's nice.
I really like that. What I have on today is actually Hourglass's skin tint mixed with one pump of their foundation. I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of Fenty's old foundation, their first foundation that
they're
ever came
matte.
out.
The
So
soft-
drying,
but-
drying. But the soft
The
glow
soft
was
lip,
good.
Oh, yeah, that one's good.
That one was good for me. But again, I rarely use my foundations. And if I do, it's one, maybe two pumps. I'm more of a skin tint. I love the YSL skin tint. It's really nice on my skin.
The YSL New?
Yeah. That one, it goes really nice on me. Also,
You like more matte, huh?
no, because I love Smashbox Glow.
Have you tried CL?
What's that?
The CL skin tint? It's a medium coverage.
Is
It's
it
SPF 50. It's
C
mineral.
with a C?
Yeah.
Oh no, I've never.
CL.
I don't think.
Girl, you need to try it.
Really? I the Smashbox Glow. Every time I wear it, I get asked what am I on, what do I have on, and I'm like, okay, and that's glowy on me. If I am doing a foundation, which this is not a foundation, but I feel like it goes really nice on my skin, and I always forget about it, and then I bring it back out, and I'm like, ugh, It Cosmetics.
The CC cream?
The CC cream looks so nice, and I feel like it's enough coverage for me where it's like thicker than a skin tint, but it's not foundation.
Yeah, it's in the middle.
Yeah. But
Yeah, that one's a good one.
and then you know what I'm not a fan of, and I
Ooh.
think you like it?
Oh.
House Labs.
What made you think that I like that?
I don't know, everybody likes it.
I said
It's
that
too
I
thick
don't.
for
I
me.
was like, I don't like House Labs because it separates like my divorce back in 2021. Girl, look,
It's too thick for
House
me.
Lab is cool. You know, like if you're an LA girl, if you're a Washington girl, if you live in a place where it's not very humid, but it will separate. As soon as I went to Texas, girl, I went over there to go visit my grandma, and I wore House Labs, and it separated all over my face. I literally looked like it was literally running. I'm not playing no games, so I stopped wearing it. I think when it comes to House Labs, I like the bronzer. The bronzer is really, really good. But other than that, I don't use nothing else.
What about Makeup by Mario? I have three foundation bottles and I've never tried it.
Why not?
just because like I like my stuff and I have too much product. I just haven't gotten to it. But I've heard people that love it and
Mhm.
other people that are like, it makes my skin horrible. It breaks me out. And I'm like,
Well, first of all, Makeup by Mario is a professional makeup artist, and he's probably the most humblest man that I've ever met. He's very kind
mm-hmm.
and he's very sweet. He actually did my makeup. And so I feel like when it comes to his foundation is good if you like luminosity. And
Okay.
I think when it comes to acne prone skin, you know, people with acne prone skin are like, oh, yeah, I stay away from a whole bunch of ingredients. Well, as they should.
Yeah.
But I have acne prone skin and it does not break me out. You know what breaks you out is not cleansing the skin correctly,
Mm-hmm.
not double cleansing at night, not using the right cleanser or cleansing oil for your skin type. That's what's clogging your pores.
Yeah.
You know, when it comes to applying a lot of products, the pollution, where you live at is going to cause that too. And a lot of people don't talk about it, but I think Makeup by Mario, a lot of his products are amazing. There's some products that I don't like, but most of his products I do. And I think when it comes to a like line that I like every single product,
Mm-hmm.
it's Tower 28.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. And Skin Fix. And like there's so many brands that I like, but there's some brands that like I'll like 8 SKUs out of like the 20.
Right.
But that's normal. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like
They're not gonna always be
we're
a
not gonna
yeah.
like everything, just like everybody likes the Patrick Ta foundation. And he used, oh, this is mature skin approved. And I'm like, no, bro, it is not
Yeah.
because it's separated right here
Yeah.
2 minutes in.
Right. And last but not least, I think that while we talked about all the skincare that you like, we haven't talked about the thing that everybody with mature skin needs to do at night, which is what's your favorite retinol?
Over the counter Murad or Crystal Retinol from Medigate.
Is the Murad one the green bottle?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's two of them. Youth Renewal Serum, not that one. It's the
Yeah.
other one. It's the Retinol. That's Retinol.
Okay.
And their eye cream.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Medigate Crystal Retinol. And that one is from UK. It has 6 different strengths. So like anybody can get that.
Okay.
And what a retinol does is it's an encapsulated product that is great for people with sensitive skin and it's not going to cause no irritation. So I think it's really good to use, you know, if you've never tried a retinol, but like if you want to go into like the Mexican retin-A, like
Yeah.
you go to Mexico on a little trip and you go get yourself a retin-A. Yeah, get yourself a 0.25 and a 0.05. You'll be good. Your skin will be looking snatched because that is very, very strong, but it's very, very drying on the skin though. So
Okay.
you kind of have to figure out what you want.
Right. It's like a little concoction, a little soup that you got to make to figure out.
So like when it comes to a retinol, just use it a couple times a week, exfoliate a couple times a week, hydrate your skin, protect your skin, and start out slow and don't have a 25-step skincare routine.
Yeah.
You don't need it. You don't need that extra. You don't.
Okay.
Get facials too. You know,
Yeah.
we love a good facial. Hydrofacial is really, really good.
I love hydrofacials.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you so much for being on this episode. We talked about so many different topics and categories in life. I hope you enjoyed being on the episode, and I hope everybody enjoyed watching it, listening. You guys got some links. You guys got some products that you're going to go buy, learn some lessons about life.
Mm-hmm.
And
a lot of lessons.
Yes, and hopefully laughed as well. But thank you so much for being on this episode with me. Is there anything else that you want to say?
You're never too old to start a new life. Get your life, girl.
Yes, love that. Well, until next time, bye.